Krishna. Can all of you hear me? Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to ISKCON Burlington's weekly Saturday program. We'll start with Jai Radha Madhav. Please follow me. Jai Radha Madhav Kund Bihari Gopi Jan Vallabha Girivardhari.
Jai Radha Madhav Kund Bihari Gopi Jan Vallabha Girivardhari.
Jai Radha Thank you, Saurabh, and thank you, everyone. So, you can chant pranam mantras with me. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuvetam Sadhudutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Prada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Pranami Hare Vancha वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो वहावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वती व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Kindly repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Thank you everyone for your coming here. First of all, today in this chilly winter evening, you could have been anywhere, maybe mostly at your home, but you chose to be here at ISKCON Burlington. So thank you so much. So in our exciting journey of Bhagavad Gita, we are at chapter 3, and today we will be covering verse 19 to 21. So as is our format, we'll start with Mataji's, who will read one verse followed by the translation, and then we go to Prabhuji and then back to Mataji's. Okay, so anyone, I see all, no new face today, so we have to do with not old faces. Okay. So anybody, 3.19. Yes, yes Mataji, go ahead.
Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, or by working without attachment, one attains the supreme.
Thank you. Prabhuji's, someone from Prabhuji's side, 3.20.
कर्मणैः संसिद्धिमास्थिता जनकादया लोकसंग्रहं किमपि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुम् अर्हसि.
Translation, Prabhu.
Kings such as Janaka attain perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work.
She read 19. 19 first. 19, 20, then 21 now. Okay, Mataji is 21. Anyone from Mataji's side?
यदा यदा चरति श्रेष्ठः तदा एवत्तरो जना सयत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तद् अनुवर्तते. whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
Thank you. So I will, in between, I will ask someone to volunteer and read the important part of the purport, Bhaktivedanta purport, because that is our basis for this class, purport so sublimely given by Srila Prabhupada. So if you see the first word of 19th chapter is Tasmat, which means in English, therefore. So, no new topic would start from word therefore, right? It means Krishna has said something before, which he is continuing here and saying therefore. So let's see what he said before, and you all, most of you have attended last class, right, which is 17 and 18 verse. So what he said in 17 and 18, then we can connect to this word in 19, therefore. So any volunteers, you can read now also and then tell what Krishna said in 17 and 18. And kind of Krishna is contradicting himself if we read only 19, but then he clarifies in 20 and 21. So anybody 17, what he is saying, you can just see the translation and then just tell in your own words. Anyone? 17, 3:17, you just tell in your own words what Krishna is saying. So, yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
I just read 17, but I could recollect, and I would read while speaking as well. Basically, what we studied last time was a person who is fully Krishna conscious and is fully satisfied by his own acts, and he no longer need to perform any duty. Like I also remember Jagannath ji also mentioned about the thousands of yagnas. That is, if you are fully Krishna conscious, even that is equivalent to those thousands of yagnas.
Yes. Okay, good, Prabhuji, that yes. So 17, Krishna is saying, who is self-realized, like Prabhuji said, there is no duty, basically, right?
Yeah.
So that is 17. And then 18, Krishna is continuing that. So he is telling another characteristics of someone who is self-realized. And what is that he is saying? In 18, same theme. The self-realized person has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge. So he does not have to fulfill, or there is no reason to perform activity. Right? So both are same. So in first he is saying, Prabhuji I have explained last class, there is no duty and then there is no reason to perform any activity. And then he is continuing, therefore in 19, Tasmat. So he is saying, therefore, what? He is saying that without being attached to the fruits, one should act as a matter of duty. So if someone is realized, there is no reason to perform duty. Therefore, as a matter of duty, he has to act, not for fruitive activities. He has to act. Right? So ideally he does not have to, which we will see in details, but he has to act as a matter of duty. And then we will see what Prabhupada says in the details. Okay, good. Now we are able to connect 17, 18 and 19. Okay, so in 17, Prabhupada is saying that the soul is very rare, right? That soul is very rare, which is fully Krishna consciousness or fully realized. that soul take pleasure in itself, is fully satisfied internally, and there is no prescribed personal obligation to perform any duties. And in the purport, now let's see what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. I will read one of the line here. A person therefore acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance, right? So that's the key word, under proper guidance, and without attachment to the result, is certainly making progress toward the supreme goal of life. So Prabhupada is saying here that a person who is working in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance, and we will talk more about this, because someone can say, oh, I am working in Krishna consciousness, right? But then he does not follow any authority, right? So that's why Prabhupada is preemptive in that and saying that under proper guidance he has to act, and then he is making progress towards the supreme goal. And both devotee and impersonalist. So for devotee, he is working towards Krishna, and impersonalist, they are not working towards Krishna, they are working towards liberation. Right? But both for them, for the path is same, they have to work without accepting any fruitive result. Right? So path is same for both. Prabhupada in his lecture says that this verse is not for ordinary people. This verse applies only to very rare self-realized souls. Right? That 17, especially the 17th verse. So how do we understand what is our work and how do we work without any attachment? So there is, in this context, the principle is non-violence, right? So Arjuna wanted to be non-violent. That is his premise. Why he has to fight. But Krishna is saying here, and which he is saying in this verse, that you have to fight as a matter of duty. What is your duty as a Kshatriya? You have to fight because of that. And then only you will be able to attain the supreme. So let's suppose there is a son and father, they are going, right? And he has read that ahimsa paramo dharam, right? We say non-violence. So, and somebody attacks his father or mother, and then he sticks to that principle. Ahimsa paramo dharam. No, I will not attack that attacker, right? So it means he has not fully understood the meaning, right? That's why under proper guidance is written by Prabhupada. So people just read one thing without understanding the context, full context, tries to stick to that principle. That is true for both impersonalist and with people who believes in karma kant. Right? Say they don't understand the full context why they are doing, they just stick to that particular principle what they have been taught. So here it is said to break the rule. Now he has to break the rule of non-violence, apparently. To break the rule, you have to understand the rules fully. Then only you know what to break and what not to break. Otherwise, you will focus on one particular rule and you will say, oh, I am not going to break that rule. Right? So we have to understand the full rule. What is the absolute or ultimate result or objective towards which we are working? In this, similar to 3.1 3.19, Krishna in Bhagavatam is saying a similar verse to Uddhav in 11th chapter. So this verse is 11:29. It's a part of Uddhav Gita of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's repeat after me, and then I will go through the translation. It's very similar word, and Krishna here is expanding it. So you can repeat after me. Tavat karmani kurvita
Tavat karmani kurvita
na nirvidyata yavata
na nirvidyaya yavata
mat katha shravanaduva
matkaka shravanaduva
shraddha yavanna jayate.
shradhayavana jayate.
So Krishna is saying to Uddhava, as long as one is not satiated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravan, Kirtanam, Vishnu, one has to act according to the regulative principle of the Vedic injunction. Right? So, if people say, oh, I am Krishna consciousness, and now I will not do my duty, I will just do, bhajan and then retire somewhere. For them, Krishna has said this verse, right? As long as one is not satiated by fruitive activities, has not awakened his taste of Shravan, one has to act according to the regulative principle of Vedic injunction, which is similar to what Krishna is saying in 19, that we have to act as a matter of duty without attachment to attain supreme. So similar, he is expanding here. So in Prabhupada, in continuation of this verse, he is saying, Bhagavad Gita is spoken to Arjuna and Srimad Bhagavatam, this chapter, to Uddhava. Right? Why? Because both are practical instructions for human life. So in this Uddhav Gita, in this particular context, Uddhav has a concern which is very similar to Arjuna. Uddhav is asking Krishna, if devotional service is supreme, if renunciation is glorified, then when we should stop worldly duties. Right? So that, and Krishna is answering when. Prabhupada in his lecture is saying that renunciation must be natural, not imitated. Right? As we progress in our devotional life, right, we will pick up new things naturally, and we will leave old habits naturally. We don't have to imitate. It does not mean we don't have to make efforts towards getting new things and then leaving bad things, right? We should not say, oh, Prabhuji, naturally आएगा 50 साल लगेंगे तो 50 साल लगेंगे, right? That is not the case, right? We have to make effort, but then we don't have to, artificially do things, right? People get in a family, oh, now I'm into Krishna consciousness, everybody is soul, I am eternal soul, all my family, like we come together and then we get separated after. I have so many families, so I don't take care of my family, right? So that is what Krishna is saying, that we should not imitate, it should come naturally to us. Whatever things we have to leave, we will leave it, and it will be lived naturally. Prabhupada is saying we should not imitate. If one artificially renounce work without purification, Prabhupada is writing, he will fall down. Right? If we artificially renounce our work, we should not be renouncing our work. Krishna is now making two objective markers for us in this verse. First, na nirvidyata. In this Bhagavatam, he is saying na nirvidyata means genuine detachment from fruitive enjoyment. Right? So genuinely, naturally we get detached. Not because of, so people do, sometimes they are bored with their life. Oh, now I will go into, spirituality. No, it is good if you are coming, but the reason should not be like boredom or frustration. They are so frustrated or depressed. So these are the things, sometimes people come and they try to imitate them. Oh, I am leaving everything, I am going to Vrindavan because of frustration or depression. But that should not be the case. Okay? So here Krishna is warning us, and we should have Shraddha in hearing about Krishna's pastimes. Prabhupada in his lecture would often say, when one get taste for chanting Hare Krishna, for hearing Krishna Katha, then automatically material duties lose attraction. We don't have to endeavor separately for it, right? If we get taste, so how do we get taste about something? How do we get taste?
Practice.
By practice.
Practice.
And Prabhuji said,
Consuming it.
by consuming it, right? By again and again and again consuming it. I will ask something not appropriate, but I can't recall any other example. How many, whenever somebody might have tried alcohol or some other, liquid or drink, alcoholic, how first time who liked it? Like no one. Nobody liked it first time, right? Or if somebody have smoked cigarette, first time no one liked, but then they get taste by again and again taking it, right? Again and again and again. Same thing here. First time, because of our conditioning, we may not like chanting, we may not like hearing Krishna Katha, but by practicing, by first understanding that this is good for me. Even though I am not getting natural taste, it will come if I continue to hear, if I continue to chant. So, and how do we know? Like, how do we know that this is good for us? Or what Krishna is saying here, acting as a matter of duty on behalf of me, right? How do we know that we are acting on behalf of Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna? By sadhu, shastra, and guru. So, in one katha, I was hearing, Maharaj was saying, who do you rate higher, scriptures or Krishna? Scriptures, right? So then he said, why like people? Why scriptures? Because he said, Krishna didn't come to tell us about himself. Scriptures, we got scriptures through sadhus, through devotees. We got scriptures, we got katha, which told us about Krishna. If tomorrow Krishna comes and says something which is contradictory to scriptures, then he said, you don't have to follow Krishna, because he can keep changing. You have to follow the scriptures, right? And then we believe the scriptures. Scriptures gave us that confidence. Scriptures gave us that belief, that direction, which took us towards Krishna. Right? So we have to go through sadhu, which are devotees, our senior devotees, shastra, which are scriptures, and guru. Sometime a sadhu can say something which we may not understand, or we may think it is something different or opposite to what I have belief, right? But then we again go back to scriptures to verify that whether he is saying correct or not. Right? So please remember sadhu Shastra and Guru. These three, when they are saying the same thing, right? Or two of them are the same thing, we believe that. So scriptures is our first point of reference. Again, scriptures tells us what makes Krishna happy and what makes Krishna unhappy. Right? So we do something on the strength of scriptures, not to satisfy our own ego. So let's suppose there's a new person coming here and they do something which they should not be doing in front of the altar, right? Or someone who doesn't know. We may have to go and maybe in a kind of strong words say something, right? But that is not coming from us. If it is coming to satisfy our ego, so that is wrong. But if we are doing on the strength of scriptures or what we have learned from our acharyas, right? So we can do that. But we should not be doing to satisfy our ego. Prabhupada, in his dealing with his disciples, sometimes would be so angry when they used to do some mistakes. Very angry. They used to tell, like when Prabhupada is in their interview, when Prabhupada was angry, nobody used to be in that room. Nobody dared to be around him at that time. But then they also say in the same breath, moment, like after 5 minutes, if you go to Prabhupada, he will act, nothing had happened. Right? Nothing had happened. He would be like most pleasant person in the world. Right? The way he treats them. So the point is, Prabhupada is scolding them for Krishna, on behalf of Krishna. Right? Not because of his, because if he's scolding because of his own ego, then in 5 minutes he won't be able to change. Right? He's scolding them in 5 minutes, he's again his like pleasant best nature. So both things are coming from for the happiness of Krishna and on behalf of scriptures. Right? So that's what is mentioned, we do as a matter of duty, without attachment. So without attachment, without ego. Let's go to now Krishna. Having said this, he has to now support this argument, right? He says you have to do it as a matter of. First he said you don't have to do any duty if you are self-realized. Then he said you have to do duty as a matter, you have to act as a matter of duty without attachment. Then now he has to give some proof. So he is giving a historical proof in that regard. What proof he is giving is that he is giving example of Janak Maharaj. Who is Janak Maharaj? Anybody? Father of Sita Devi and king of Mithila. Right? So he is a king, father of Sita Devi, father-in-law of Lord Ram. He is one of 12 Mahajans. So he is that rare self-realized soul which Krishna is mentioning. Right? He is one of them. But he is also a ruler, a king. He is an administrator. And he is performing his duties. Right? Not because, so as a self-realized, ideally he can just go away next second and leave everything without even looking back, even though he is a king. He is a 12 Mahajan, one of the 12 Mahajan. But he is doing his duty without attachment for the happiness of, duty means as per his position. Position as per Varna and Ashram. So everybody know what Varna and Ashram means. So 4 Varnas, who can tell? Prabhuji, you tell. 4 Varnas.
Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra.
Yeah, nice. And who can tell 4 ashram?
Brahmacharya,
Go ahead, people.
Grahastham, Vanaprastha, and yes.
Sannyasi. Right? Brahmachari, Grahastha, Sannyasi, and Vanaprastha. So now we have to do our duty based on our varna and ashram. Right? So that is our basic position. And then after that we can be engineer, doctor, software engineer, architect and all other things. But basically first we have a varna and then we have a ashram. And varna remains same throughout our life. Ashram we keep changing. So right now most of us are in Grahastha ashram, and then later Vanaprastha. I don't know, someone of maybe sannyasi later on. So he is doing his duties as per his varna and ashram. So liberated does not mean being lazy, right? Not doing anything. We covered it earlier also. Okay. Then Prabhupada is clarifying here. We cannot say that we are doing any work. So the work prescribed duty. Our prescribed duty as per our position without attachment and for Krishna. Right? So there are 3, 4. So work, there is, I am doing work. But then we have to quantify it. How do we quantify our work? My work, I am doing my work as per my prescribed duties, as per my varna and ashram, right? So I have without attachment and on behalf of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna, right? That is our actual work. We cannot go, I am doing work. No, that's the incomplete understanding, right? So we have to quantify it and then see if that are we doing work or not, right? That work is sanctioned by Krishna. So there is one more famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, chapter 2, verse 13. Let's you say after me. It's very famous. Atha pumbir dvija shrestha varna ashram vibhagasha swanusithya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. So what is the most important words in this verse? Right? So everybody got Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. We don't understand Sanskrit, but you got the gist. Right? Everybody got the gist. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. That is the most important. And then now Sukdev Goswami is saying, I will read the translation. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to the caste division and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Right? So, what is the highest perfection of discharging our duties as per our division and order of life, varna and ashram, is to, anybody can repeat from Mataji's side. What is the highest perfection? Is to please the personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everybody can remember what does it means in Sanskrit? Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So to please the Godhead. So now, perfection is to please Lord Hari. question can be asked, if self-realized soul, they don't have to do any duty, then why are they doing this? Why King Janak have to take so much burden of running the whole kingdom? Right, to teach, right? So which leads us to our next verse, 21. So let's take an example of a teacher who is teaching young kids, right? ABCD writing. So teacher already knows how to write, how to read. But then teacher sits with the student, take pen or pencil and write ABCD, right? And then looking at the teacher, how he or she is doing, student also does the same. So similarly, self-realized soul, even though they don't have to, teacher doesn't have to, right? They already know. They are teaching us by their own example how to lead our life as per our varnashram, to without attachment, to please the Supreme Lord Hari. That's why they are doing it. In our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, can anybody give an example of something like King Janak? Not, we won't go far away, maybe very recent one. Our Acharyas, one of our prominent Acharya, who, being a self-realized soul, still showed us by example. Srila Prabhupada, yes, and somebody who, like Prabhupada, somebody who had more responsibilities as a administrator. Yeah, so that is little far. Yes, that is correct. Prabhuji, Rupa and Sanatan also. But example which we all can relate to is Thakur Bhakti Vinod. He was a collector, right? You can consider it as big as a king of a small area, right? He was a collector, magistrate in British time, maybe 150 years ago. So he was responsible for law and order in that area, all the criminal crimes happening, right? He was a family man like us with many children. 10 kids he had, and yet he was a pure devotee, a prolific author, and he was the one who revived teaching of Lord Chaitanya in modern era, right? Because Lord Chaitanya and after Rupa and Sanatan, there were many discrepancies happening for hundreds of years, but then he came in early ending of 90s and early 1900s, he came and revived it. So he was self-realized, right? He is the seventh Goswami. Yet he showed by his own example how to work as per our scriptures for the satisfaction of the Lord. So there is a book called Seventh Goswami. If we can get here, then I would request and highly recommend to read that book and go through the teaching, the life of Thakur Bhakti Vinod, right? There's not much teachings in that, but life, because he wrote around 100 books. So there are many books which he has written, many songs he has written, but to read that book on him called Seventh Goswami, it's a wonderful book, right? We will just be amazed looking at his dincharya, right? Waking up at 2 o'clock, then doing bhajan, then taking some rest, then doing writing, then going to court. He was a magistrate, doing the court cases, coming back, spending time with the kids. His dincharya is exemplified. So that's the example of King Janak and Thakur Bhakti Vinod. which we can take in this in regard to 3.20. So now, just to continue the sequence, self-realized, they don't need to work, but they still work for as a matter of duty without attachment. One example, King Janak. And why do they do it? Why? It will come in the next verse 3.21, which is very famous verse. Yat yat acharati shreshthas. Now, even if we don't understand Sanskrit, yat yat acharati means achar or actions. Shrestha means leaders, right? Shrestha means respectable leader. Tat tat iva taro jana. Jana means common people. And then iva, certainly, right? Common people, they imitate them, right? So they Sayat Parmadam Kurute. Parmadam means example, and they perform the same thing. They follow their footsteps. So whatever action a great man perform, common men follow, and whatever standard he sets by exemplary act, all the world pursues. So Prabhupada here he says, general, in the first verse itself he says, people in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. So this verse, I was just thinking, do we always require a leader? Everybody, right, require a leader? Is that statement, like how to understand that? So somebody can say, oh, I don't require a leader, right? I don't believe in leader, I don't require a leader per se. But our world is like that. Even if we don't require or we think we are not following a leader, but we are getting influenced by so many people during our life. Right? Now the word influencer has come. So that is, the word is like they are influencing. And it is so subtle, we may not even realize that, but we are following the leader. We are getting influenced by influencer. How, even if we don't say like proactively, I don't follow anybody, but we see advertisement, right? And we see, oh, some famous footballer or cricketer, he's drinking something, and then he's using some products, and then somebody else is doing something, and then there is a very famous personality, he has a way, or politician, right? He has a way of saying things or wearing things. We get influenced by them, right? Subtly, they very subtly, but we get influenced. So that's what common people always require a leader. So they get influenced by the leader. And Prabhupada is saying, leader has to lead by his own example, by his own achar, right? Not by words, but by his own achar. So there are two things. One is, when we say achar, right, by saying things, people don't undertake that much, but by seeing things which other people are doing, they take that very easily. Same thing, Prabhupada is saying in this verse, there are natural leaders. Who are the natural leaders? So in the last verse, in the last fifth sentence, fifth line from the last, the king or the executive head of state. Okay, so we know these are leaders anyway, king and executive head of state. But the father and school teacher are also considered to be natural leaders, right? So even though we think one is we are following someone, but we ourselves are leaders, right? We may think, oh, I'm not a manager, or I'm not a leading some company or some department, how I am a leader. But we parents are leaders for our kids, right? Both father and a mother. They are natural leaders for the kids. And we all know, whatever we do, kids do that. Whatever we say, kids may not do that, right? So we have to follow, we have to show by our example. Now just, we are on time, maybe little bit above. There is one example in modern day ISKCON when Prabhupada was there, and later also someone, a leader who influenced millions of people by being who he was. And he had a very special, he had a lot of blessings, special blessings from Srila Prabhupada. And he was not a sannyasi, he was not even initiated. We discussed this some time back, maybe in my last to last class. George Harrison, thank you, Prabhu. Right? So George Harrison, Beatles, he was not even initiated. He wanted to get initiated, he wanted to leave, but Prabhupada said, just by being who you are, you can influence, get millions of people in Krishna consciousness. So just you be wherever you are. So as a leader, he got many people inspired. And when Prabhupada was leaving his body, he was, many disciples were around him, and he was saying, giving some special instructions to his disciples and giving his things also to his prominent disciple. He took his ring and said, give it to George. His own ring, and George was not in the room. He was not even in the country, but Prabhupada remembered his contribution, his special position, his special place in ISKCON ecosystem. Right? How he can influence so many people. And so many people got also influenced. In like many Krishna books, they were selling at that time just because of George Harrison. They were saying, do you want, interested? And they say, no, forward is written by George Harrison. Oh yes, I want it. Forward is written by George Harrison. George Harrison said in the forward, everybody is looking for Krishna, is searching for Krishna. Some know it, some doesn't know it. But everybody is searching for Krishna. That was the starting point of it. So I will stop here. These are all three verses are very practical, very, which we all can connect. So if anybody have any correction, comments, questions, please go ahead. You can share. Sure, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, if somebody does not know their varna, how do you find out, or what do you follow?
So our varna gets decided at the time of our birth. And good or bad, we cannot change it. And we get it from our parents based on our past karma. And if we don't know it, ideally, right, we get to know from our parents, from our family, where like are we a Kshatriya, or based on our surname, caste, right, or place, what we are. So that is the one. But if we don't know, then we say, like they ask us during Havan and all, what is your Gotra, which is again kind of Varna, right, Gotra. So we say Kashyap Gotra, if we don't know, right, because we are devotee, then we are coming from Krishna Gotra. Anybody else? Yes, please.
Just relating to this question, Prabhupada said we are all Sudras.
Sorry, Prabhu.
We all, in Kali Yuga, we are all Sudras.
We all are Shudras. Yes, that is correct. We all are Shudras, Malechas and Shudras. That, but right, but that because we don't follow up. That's why Prabhu said we all are Shudras. Yes, Prabhu.
Just
on the same lines, even though we are born as Shudras, but this Krishna consciousness is so powerful that we can transcend, like even that Shudra state can become to the Vaishnava state, which is even higher than
Brahma. Yeah, so just to repeat, Prabhuji said, even though we may be born in any varna, but by doing devotional service, we can transcend all the varna and then reach to Vaishnava stage, which we are in some way or another and always trying to improve. And Vaishnavas is even higher than Brahmanas. We don't have to get too much into that varnas thing, right? But again, based on Bhagavad Gita. Okay, anything else for today? Thank you so much for your cooperation, for your understanding and patience. Hare Krishna.
So we'll all stand for Kirtan and without going for the next 10 minutes, you'll have to stop. Thank you.